I wish I knew why I'm having such a hard time making this video. I must have tried over 20 times. This last time I tried, 34 minutes of footage gone because I didn't like it. I just have a really hard time staying on subject. My poor mind wanders and I get very random. What I wanted to do was let you know all about why I decided to make a last minute trip up to New England. Well, I have to make a decision about my van, and I haven't made that decision still. I wanted to see how well I could do in a van, and I only had 9 to 10 days. That's really all I could afford. So I flew up to Bangor, Maine, and I rented a U-Haul van. I had already sent up a pad to cushion, to start the makings of a bed for myself. And I had to add to that a 3-inch gel pad, which we folded in half and put on top of that firmer foam cushion. It's the length of a sofa. It's a sofa replacement cushion, and then I put the gel pad on top. So I had about, maybe 4 inches of gel pad on top of that firm cushion. And it was okay, but if I were going to do it for an extended period of time, I would have to have an appropriate twin mattress to be comfortable long term and for my back's sake. So there's a lot of things I learned while I did this. I learned that I don't need a cooler because I'm not a wilderness camper. I don't need to have food available all the time and to have to try to keep it cool. But I wouldn't mind having that ability. And so one of those little 12-volt fridges probably is a necessity if I wanted to do like 2 months just stealth camping in the White Mountains, which is very doable. Very doable. I learned a lot from this trip. So many places on the notches you can park. Overnight, nobody bothers you. It was surprising how few police officers, sheriffs, whatnot, I failed to see. They just weren't around. I don't know. Maybe they don't have the money for it. But I appreciated that because, I'm sorry I'm moving the camera around. You know me. Yeah, so a really good bed, if I was going to do it 2 months in a row, every fall, go home, um, and in a van or a vehicle. I know I have to have a van. There's no way I could do that in a minivan. There's no way I could do it in a car. Uh, I have to have a van. It doesn't have to be a high top, but it has to be a van. So I know that part for sure. And the only van I have is the van that I have, and the van that I have needs a lot of work. Still, a lot of work. So, I'm going to have to ask God for what I want because I really do believe that, when we say, give us this day our daily bread, we're asking for our needs. But quite frankly, I feel that that is a need for me. I just need to go home once a year. I can't live there because I can't take the cold. But I could definitely do 2 fall months. September and October to me seem very doable. It might get pretty cold in October because I did have a couple of 42, 43-degree nights, just for about an hour of the evening, and it's cold. Under that would be pretty rough. But, I would probably like crack my front windows and keep a cook stove on low. Cracking the windows allows and I already have one. I have a monoxide RV monitor, which I would put in my van if I was going to do something like that, and use the cook stove for heat. Cooling is a whole nother subject, and I didn't need cooling, thank God, when I was up there. That was the perfect time of year I chose to get up there, and I would definitely do that again. But I would probably I'd probably leave here the end of August and do 2 hotel nights going up. And I don't know, it might take me longer. I got to be honest, 6 hours was too much driving in a row. And I would have to cut that down, or, uh, and this would be really hard for me. I wouldn't be able to stay an extra day somewhere without doing a hotel because it's so hot in the southeast. So, that's something I have to plan out. Uh, I'd have to have enough money for hotels. And to be able to do 6 hours, I'd be out of Florida and I'd have to stop to get a hotel. And I'd probably have to stay 2 nights. And then I could go again a little more. And it'd be very difficult until I got into the cooler climes. And then I could sleep in the van. So, all of these things, it's given me food for thought and food for planning. Kind of a menu. I would think of food, wouldn't I? So, as an analogy. So, okay, so the bed is really important. Having a little fridge probably is very important, which means I need a separate alternator and maybe a battery of the Jackery. I still have that. And we barely ever used it, if at all. But we've charged it twice, and I guess it's good for, I don't know, so many cycles. It's a 1500, so I guess 150 cycle. I don't know. But, yeah. There's that. Okay, so bed, a refrigerator. As long as I stuck with it in the fall months, I wouldn't need an air conditioner. But it's something I wouldn't mind doing. I just don't know if I want to further invest in that van. I do believe my transmission is slipping. I don't know for sure, but it does. Lately, it doesn't like to go into park. And I found I had to jiggle around quite a bit yesterday, and I'm like, oh God, it got stuck in reverse, and I had to start it in reverse, and it didn't like that. And I'm like, wow. So I'm not going to let this discourage my dreams, my wants, my needs. I'm going to make myself a vision board and tell God what I want and ask him to bring it to me. And however he decides to bring it, I'm going to try to be as specific as possible, because what I found is when you write down a wish and desire, you need to make it extremely specific or you'll just get whatever. So I need to really specify, this is what would make me most comfortable. So what would make me most comfortable is I would need a quality bed. I'd need something like what I'm sleeping on in there, but smaller, to put into the van. I would like a refrigerator that could be powered on its own without draining my van battery. The potty thing is so easy. The camp toilet that I had originally given her, that I had from when I lived in Dover, Foxcroft, Maine, I gave to my friend, and we put a plastic bag in that. I showed that, I think, on a video. Put a plastic bag in it and around the seat, and we put horse pellets, the pine pellets, in the bottom of the toilet, and that way we were able to pee without having to worry about finding a bathroom. And that's a necessity that I would have to have. And it was very easy to dispose of. There was always a garbage can somewhere in a gas station, what have you, and I just tie it up tight. Sometimes I double bag it and I throw the pellets away. And what else? And basically, I'm not a wilderness camper. I'm not going to go down a remote I would never do that. I'm too old and crippled. If I got stuck, I'd be in trouble. Sometimes there's no GPS in areas. There were places in the White Mountains there was no GPS. So I want to be where I could stop a vehicle and say, hey, I'm in trouble, or call out if I have cell service, or just wait for a cop to come. So yeah, having water on hand, that's really important. And I would not be able to lift the big water that my friend had. I would need to do 12 packs, or have a grocery attendant help me get it into the van. I found that I needed my friend for a lot of things. She had to do a lot of the, getting the bed set up. And I mean, I helped, but she had to do all the lifting and walking, because I don't do good lifting anything heavy and walking at the same time. Too much pressure on my spine and my hip. So having her to set me up was invaluable. And thank you, by the way. And again, I've thanked her a million times, because I needed this so bad. But what I'd want to do to make it work is already have that van set up so that I'm up off the floor. I think that's very important. I need to be able to be at chair level so I can switch my body from bed to potty. I have to get up in the middle of the night and pee. That's just the way I am now, being older. And maybe I need to do more Kegel exercises. Anyhow, I think I'll try that. And yeah, so that van would have to be ready for me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make my vision board. I'm going to present it to God and the universe, and expectation. I'm going to expect what I need, what I want. So, yeah, so the trip taught me a lot of things. It's very, very easy to a stealth camp in the White Mountains National Forest. There's so many lovely flat turnouts and you're partially in the woods even. It's just really nice. And I would love to do that for a whole fall. I would just love to do that for September, October. So that's my dream and my hope. And I didn't get enough time. I was very sad about leaving. New England is home. And the weather was so perfect. It's like God said to me, here you go. Unfortunately, it got too cold. It's like the weather just turned overnight from 80s to 60s. And I did not want to lay in a bathing suit on Wallace Sands Beach. So we're parked in front of the gate. And I said, hey, let's not do this. Let's just ride the coast. I just want to see the coast, and let's head out of town and go back up to your place, because her place is gorgeous. It's right on a lake, and I got to tell you, I was planning on just, tooling around the seacoast of New Hampshire, but the weather was so profoundly gorgeous that being up there, the bugs were like non-existent because of the time of year. Uh, the breeze, the sky, oh gosh, it was everything I'd been dreaming of and more. It's just like God said, here you go. I'm going to give you the most perfect fall weather. Here's some of the leaves changing in the lowlands. I saw some gorgeous, brilliant reds, oranges, yellows, like iridescent. And I just thanked God profoundly. I said, thank you, God. I needed this so bad, but I was pretty sad leaving. And the airport was a nightmare. My friend left me off down a ways because it was so packed in this little bitty airport. And wow, so I get to the first door thinking I'd be able to get into the Allegiant counter, and no, it was all ribboned off. They were doing something to it, and so had to go to the next door, and this was not easy on me. Heavy bag, too many things, my hands, my cane. Finally made it inside, and there was no Allegiant counter to be found. And I couldn't walk too far, just in packed. The counters that were Delta, and another one, I can't remember what the other airline was. I looked at the board and it said they were going to be boarding at 12:24. I thought it was 1:09. I didn't want to wait too long at the airport. Big mistake. It was so packed. There was no priority line so that I could go up to someone and say, hey, I need a wheelchair. So I had to take all my stuff and try to get on the escalator. It took me 5 tries because I don't have the maneuverability. And I had this heavy bag. I had a cane. I had another bag with my lunch in it. And it was really horrible. But I did get to the top of the escalator. And the TSA line was phenomenal. It was so long and so slow. So when I started to finally get up to the point, because I mean the line went beyond the little, you know, the little thing back and forth, back and forth. It was packed with people, and the people doing the checks were horribly slow. As a matter of fact, one of the airline people told me, she says, we've been having a real problem with that here, and I didn't know. So I thought, you know, an hour's plenty of time for domestic flight to get, no. I had 20 minutes and the lines were crazy. So when I saw a TSA guy tell this man in a wheelchair, he was pushing his mother and he had a cane, bless his heart, trying to get her to the gate. He told her to go through the pre-check. I followed and I got through the pre-check too. I know, I've got a lot of NAD, but anyway, I did that and I explained to the guy at the check-out, I said, look, I got to get through this line. They're going to be boarding in 10 minutes, and I'm not there. And he said, you could ask the other passengers, but I can't push you through. Okay. I didn't ask anybody. I just stayed in that line, but I forewent all those other people, thank God. And I got through. And I gathered my stuff, and at that point, I was in pain and miserable, and I'm trying to cripple to the... And I saw this woman that I got to talk to at the Clearwater Airport. She was flying back on the same day, so she said, oh, come sit next to me. And so I sat next to her and we talked. And then when finally they were boarding us, I told the woman I needed a wheelchair and I never got one. I said, can someone help me with my bag? She says, we got wheelchairs right here. Do you want me to have her push you on? I said, yeah, please. I said, because I mean, I've done all I can. I can't do anymore. And so she pushed me in that little, you know, box thing that they connect from the airport to the plane, and thank God I got help with my bag. And then I was stuck on a seat between 2 guys, and thank God they were skinny because I'm fat, and so there was roomy enough, but still uncomfortable. I hate airplane travel. I hate it. So uncomfortable. It'd be nice. Private jet would be great. So when Michael and I talk about private jet now and then because that's what he wants in his life. The guy next to me talked to me about it, but he pays $30,000 one way to do private jet. There's cheaper options. You can like get this program where you pay in each year, and then when there's an available plane, I guess it's like really minimal what you have to pay. It's flights that, you know, they're empty, the vehicle, so they're flying back to, you know, I don't know, it's some sort of program Michael knows about. And he was telling me how easy it is, this guy. He says, you know, you just, why do I talk so long? He says, you just, there's no TSA, you get on the plane, you can bring your cat, you can get your crippled wife on it, you know. So I found that to be interesting, but, yeah, so I learned a lot in this trip about what I'd need to do, and driving from Florida up to New England would be very hard on me. I don't know, maybe I could find somebody who could do the driving. We could stay at hotels. You know, they could pay for their own, I'd pay for mine, but I'd pay for all the gas to get us there, and they would do the driving. I might be able to do that. And get help to get up to New England. Once I'm in New England, I could take my time with my van and, you know, get into the White Mountains and just park and sleep. It would be great. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I had such a good time. It was so, oh, there were little pumpkins everywhere. There were apples everywhere. It was home. It was everything I love. And I'm really sad that I'm not there. But, when I got home and the kids were going to a concert that night, so I went straight from the airport to the kids' house so I could be with Finn. Michael looked at me and he said, "I'm so glad you're home, Mom. I missed you. Those are my kids, and I don't want to be away from them too long because they need me and I need them, and Finn needs me. I'm the grandma that is always there for him, and I love him so much, and he loves me, and he missed me. Yay, I was missed. And that's everything I wanted to talk about and let you know why I did what I did. And now I have to make my vision board and tell God what I really want and need. And I'm glad I did it. I don't care what it costs me. I'll find a way to pay for it. I have some cash, and I can get a transfer credit card and just make payments with no interest. There's a lot of ways I could pay for it, so I'm not worried about that at all. I'm just grateful I got to do it. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thanks for coming with me on my journey. And hopefully there'll be many, many more. Bye.